Good morning, good morning, good morning. We have to continue on our video that we did yesterday. The one that we did yesterday was the one we were talking about how table salt. Table salt being linked to heart disease or cardiovascular problems or heart attacks and strokes and all that stuff. Well, we're going to read about it because we are going to continue off where we left off yesterday. So, where we left off, fears over salt surfaced more than a century ago. In 1904, French doctors reported that 6 of their subjects who had high blood pressure, a known risk factor for heart disease, were salt's friends. Worries exalted in the 1970s when Brookhaven National Laboratories Laws Dia claims that he had unique vocal evidence that salt causes hypertension. He included that high blood pressure in rats by feeding them the human equivalent of 500 grams of sodium a day. The average American consumes 3.4 grams of sodium or 8.5 grams of salt a day. Dia also discovered that the population tends to trends that continue to be critiqued as strong evidence of link between salt intake and high blood pressure. People living in countries with high salt consumption, such as Japan, also tend to have high blood pressure and more strokes. But as the paper printed out several years later in an American Journal of Hypertension, scientists had little lack finding such associations with when they compared sodium intake with the population. Studies suggest that genetics or critical factors might be the culprit. And nevertheless, in 1977, the U.S. states in National and Human Needs to Research a report recommending that Americans cut their salt intake by 50 to 85%, based largely on Dia's work. Scientists tools have become much more praised since then, but the correlation between salt intake and poor health has remained tenuous. In Intersalt, a large study published in the 1988 compared sodium intake with high blood pressure in subjects of 52 internal research centers, found no relation between sodium intake and the prevention of hypertension. In fact, that the population that ate the most salt, about 14 grams a day, had lower blood pressure than the population. Oh, so they're trying to go. Huh. Okay, long-term diets compared to the normal diets decrease systemic blood pressure. The top number of blood pressure ratio, a healthy per people by 1.1 meters of, okay, the diabetic blood pressure, that is like going from 120 to 80 to 119 to 79. The review intervenes insult the primary care of population, providing only a minimal reduction in blood pressure. During the long-term 2003 correlation review of 57 short-term trials, similarly and conducted, that there is little evidence for long-term benefits by reducing salt intake. So they're not 100% sure that the salt is causing it, but they are sure that when you cut back on the sugar, it does, cutting back will actually result in helping your intake. Cutting back on your intake of salt will eventually long-term benefit you. That's what they're saying. So, anyway, that's just my theory, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, like, subscribe, comment below. Love reading your comments. Anyway, peace. Have a God bless day.